one passion. Why settle? One goal, one passion. Why settle?
It's your girl Yasmin Renee, and you are here with Why Settle, the podcast that promotes, advocates for mental health in Black communities. Today I have Damez with me. Hi, Damez. How are you?
I'm great. How you doing?
I'm doing well. I'm doing well. So
Good
what do
to
you have
see you.
going? You too. I know. Georgia Southern. We out here. It's like my second Georgia Southern alumni. I'm loving
period.
this. I have
Well, that's
another one
right.
coming up, so I'm excited too.
That's what's up. Gotta get the Eagles in the house.
Gotta get the Eagles in the house.
Sure.
So, Damez, what have you been up to?
Man, what haven't I been up to?
Right.
So much. Just grinding.
I hear
Trying to reach my full potential, chase my dreams. And yeah, this music just, been trying to stay focused on this music and this dream and trying to keep going through all the bullshit. Can we cuss?
Yeah.
Okay.
You're good.
Yeah, just trying to stay focused and keep going. What about you? How you been?
I'm just doing the podcast.
Congrats on the podcast.
Thank you.
It's
Thank
dope.
you. I'm glad you like the vibe
I love
and the
the vibe.
essence,
Love the vibe.
Mom life, that's it. Mental
Congrats on
health.
that.
Thank you. I'm very appreciative of that.
Mhm.
So I see you went to the BT. How was that?
BT had this event. It was really dope. They were just celebrating, being Black and iconic, and they were celebrating LGBT icons, which was really dope because BT hasn't always been a platform that was very welcoming of that. So it was dope. It was dope to be there, just to feel like I was something. And it was like, it's BT, Yeah, it was dope.
You are something.
Thank you.
Definitely, of course.
Thank
So
you.
how did you get into music? Like, what was the influence in that?
So when I was a kid, like really young, I was the youngest of all boys, and we all had our little things, our little niches or whatnot, as kids develop, and music was just always my thing, my passion. It was just always something that I just kind of was driven towards, and as I got older, and life happened, I didn't really have the resources. I don't really come from a musical family, but I eventually had to stop making the excuses. And when I was in college was when I used one of my refund checks and bought a bunch of studio equipment, built my little built my little studio, and yeah, the rest was history. I started putting out projects, and it's been about 10 years now.
Wow,
Yeah.
definitely. And you use your refund check. You gotta use the resources that you have. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes you gotta sacrifice to get where you want to be.
Absolutely.
So, what would you say? Like, who influences your music?
Man, I'm influenced by so many different artists and also so many different like time periods and eras. Like, so not just when I grew up, obviously in the early 2000s, but 90s. I'm a 90s baby. I love the 80s, love the 70s. I love the 60s Motown music.
Okay.
The era that we in now is inspiring. I'm inspired by a lot of things, but as far as artists go, I've always been super inspired by Beyonce.
Yes,
Usher, Virgo.
Okay.
My Earth sign sister.
Right.
Who else? Usher, Prince, MJ. Those are like my top inspirations as an artist. But I'm inspired by so much.
Definitely. And you mentioned the 80s. I'm an 80s lover
Yeah,
too.
the 80s was dope.
Who in the 80s was for you?
80s, that's when I was like, I feel like 80s was like prime Michael. Prince was, I feel like they dominated the 80s. Like when I think of the 80s, that's what I think about. I think about Janet.
Yes.
I think about just a different time. I think about dance was super popular too back then. And yeah, the 80s was just dope. Just dope.
Definitely.
Shout out to the 80s. And shout out to the 90s.
No, shout out to all of the generations, to be honest. I actually just heard a song today and it was from the 70s. And I was like, somebody sampled that. It's like a lot of people do go back in time into other music and sample it. And it just sounds like brand new. And like, it's so many songs that if you go back, you're like, is that Biggie or is that, like you don't know you don't know who the artist is.
That's what makes music so dope. It's like, you can always kind of pull stuff from the past or, from the future. It's always so dope when people can, especially artistically sample. Sometimes it can get a little lazy these days. Right. But when people do it the right way and they, it's not only is it dope musically, but it also, it's educational for the new generations to, they want to go back and listen to the original records and see, oh, this was a sample and this was, because I know when I grew up and I would hear samples on records, I would always want to go back and hear the original
Same.
and see what exactly the producer did with the sample and how, and so it's always super dope.
Definitely. When you're making your songs, how involved are you into it? Like, do you write and produce? Like, how in depth do you go?
So I've co-produced on a lot of my records. I haven't fully gotten to where I'm just like making my own beats just yet. Maybe one day. But everything else I'm super super involved in. I write all my records. Vocally arrange them. I record them by myself. Damn near co-engineer because I have so many notes with my mixes before it comes to its final product. But yeah, I'm super super involved.
That's good. And as far as, because we're on a mental health podcast,
hmm
so as far as mental health, how has being an artist affected your mental health, like positively and negatively?
It's a good question. I think positively, I think I would say it's allowed me to express myself in a way that I feel like if I didn't have it, I don't know where it would be and like
Right.
what state it would be in because I feel like it's such a tool for me to express myself and to get things off, which you need, right, when you're dealing with when you're battling a lot of mental health struggles. So I wonder, like, if I didn't have that, what would be my outlet, or what would be, or would I have one? I think negatively too, on the other side of it, you put a lot of pressure on yourself to be at a certain place or to, whatever. And when life happens, you know, it may, affect your mental health in a way that's not positive. But I think it just goes back to, just protecting that mental health, so when those times come, you know how to handle it. So I feel like music is, I try to use it as, it's not the only thing that I need, you know what I'm saying? I still want to eventually get into therapy, and I eventually, I still have to take care of myself in other avenues, other aspects, but I do appreciate the fact that I have it.
Definitely. And as far as mental health, because you're human, and I know you probably get like imposter syndrome sometimes too,
Oh yeah, for
where
sure.
it's like, oh, I don't know if I know enough, or I don't know if this would be good enough, like second guessing yourself in a way.
Absolutely.
How does that affect your musical process, like writing, and do you like pour it into your music? Like, how does that affect your process?
It directly affects it. Sometimes I'll have that writer's block where I've just, but I've learned what I've learned about writer's block too over the years was, it's usually not that I can't do it. It's usually something that's in the way, right? Like if I'm trying to write a record and I just have writer's block, I can't write what I need to write. It's something that's more pressing on my soul that I need to address. That's kind of just in the way of what I'm trying to, what I want to write to, but what I need to write to is more it's more, you know what I mean? It's more pressing, and it's right there, and I need to find it, figure out what that is, get that out, and then I'll open the space and be able to have the capacity to write what I want to write in that time. So that's what I've kind of been learning about writer's block, is just like not just completely give up on it, but try to find out what your soul is calling you to, and address that first.
Yeah.
But yeah, it impacts it in different ways. I feel like sometimes, like I said, sometimes it's crippling, and it makes me like want to take a step back, and sometimes I take too many steps back, or take too much time away from it, and then I'm like fucked up because I'm like, damn, I ain't been recording, I ain't been writing, and however much long time, and then that fucks with me, like so it's a give and take. But I do realize that the more I dedicate time to it, and the more I work on my craft and work on my purpose, then the better I feel overall.
Definitely. So for you, it's like about pinpointing that source of like, okay, so what's going on with me?
Mhm.
Like that you identify, okay, this is going to affect my writing in
Mhm.
a way. So that's really important to
Yeah.
go back to the source of things to figure out, okay, so
Yeah.
what's happening? Like you look within yourself, like, okay, so what's going on with me that's stopping me from doing this?
Exactly.
And that's super important with mental health, is to find that source of what is making you feel not okay, not 100% yourself.
Right.
Super important
Trying to
for
get to
mental
like
health.
the root of it. You know what I'm
Right,
saying?
exactly. You
'Cause
got to get to the root.
'cause otherwise, you're just kind of like putting a band-aid over it, and you know what that is. It's just
Right.
like it's not really addressing it or healing it. You just put a band-aid over it. And
Mm-hmm.
eventually you're gonna have to keep putting the band-aid over it until
Exactly.
so one day you're just like, okay, I'm tired of putting band-aids over it. I want to fix it so I don't have to put a band-aid over it no more. So yeah.
Definitely. And as far as you mentioned being the youngest child, how did
Mhm.
that play effect in growing up?
Oh man.
Because I know being
um
the baby sometimes
yeah,
it can be difficult. I'm the oldest, so I don't
really.
know how it is to be the baby.
Yeah.
But I know that like reading within mental health, it does play a part in your mental health being the youngest child.
Mhm.
So how do you feel like that has played a part with you?
I feel like there was just a lot of expectations being the youngest, especially in a house with all boys. I didn't have any sisters growing up, so I think that in itself, there's so many expectations of what not only your parents but your older brothers want you to be or who they want you to be, and having to navigate how to, you know, love yourself enough to be who you want to be or be who you are, despite those things. Um, I think that played a big role, just like inevitably growing up. Um, I think, you know, it wasn't like all bad though. Like, I feel like I still had that protection of being the youngest and having those older brothers and feeling like, ain't nobody finna fuck with me because you know what I'm saying? But
Right.
so that was cool. But then I lost that, when my brother passed, and when so life, I found a way to make me realize, well, you can't really rely on certain things
Mhm.
because, so um, but now I've completely am who I am, and I don't um try to suppress any sides of me. Who I am is just who I am,
Mhm.
and if you love me, you love me. If you don't, fuck you too.
Period. I'm glad that you mentioned your brother. I was gonna ask about losing your brother. How did that affect your music? Were you into music during that time? Did it push you more wanting to be into it? How did that affect that?
It was during the time where life was happening, and like I said, I didn't really have the resources or the support family wise, and so I just honestly didn't ever really honestly feel like it could happen. I just always wanted it to, and I was always writing. I was writing my poetry during the time in high school. I was, writing songs even. I just wasn't recording. And after I lost my brother, my senior year of high school, um, after it kind of marinated over like my freshman year, it was my sophomore year in college where I decided, fuck it, life is too short. I need to, if I want this, I need to get on it and go for it because I could die tomorrow,
Mhm.
and then it would just been an idea all this time, and it's like I'm so much more than an idea, and I know I've always known how talented I was and how gifted I was and what God blessed me with, and so it just took I think it took that happening for me to really push myself to say you got to go for it no matter what, and however you're gonna make it happen, but you got to go for it, and so I also wonder too, like if that didn't happen. Um, how or when or why if I would have eventually gotten to that place of just going for my music as well. um but yeah, it happened the way it happened.
Mhm. Definitely. And if your brother was able to listen to if you were able to just get him to listen to one song, what would that song be of yours?
Oh man, I have so many records out. That's a good question. Let's see. One song. Probably Red Corvette. Yeah, from my new album. It was a song that I wrote that was dedicated to him because growing up, that was his dream car. His favorite color was red, and we always talk about our dream cars, and
Mhm.
yeah, that was his. He wanted a red Corvette, so yeah, that song is really really personal. It's really vulnerable, so I think that would be the one I would play for him.
Definitely.
Hmm.
And I also listened to your song "Stay Afloat."
Hmm.
And in the song, you reference like darkness, and you reference like being in the dark. What inspired that song to stay afloat?
Just that darkness and being in the dark. That's exactly what inspired it because I was in such a dark place, and I was in dealing with a lot of heartbreak and just feeling abandoned and feeling um, you know extremely traumatized and just lost and just super sad. And when you're in that space, it's hard to really see light, and it's hard to see um it's hard to see the other side, because you're just in there when you get stuck, and sometimes you bury yourself even further in there. And that's what I was doing. And luckily, excuse me, at the time, I had my music, and that was one of the songs that I call it, like, kind of pushing through or getting through that threshold. Because it's like you have a lot of ideas, and sometimes they don't really come into fruition, or they don't really see the other side or see the light of day. Um, but it's something about certain records that are either so powerful in your head or your heart or your soul that they make it from idea to pen and paper to you know on wax to, what I mean. It's
Right.
like these steps. And that was one of those records that I feel like really just needed, my soul just needed to make.
Mhm.
It took maybe like 2 years for me to like finish recording it. um it was just, yeah, one of those. It's just a really powerful song, super super personal to the heart. But I was just in a really dark space, and I needed to get that out,
Mhm.
and I knew people needed to hear it too. So yeah, shout out to Stay Afloat.
Definitely. And when I heard it, it's like I heard that pain.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
it's in your voice that
Mm-hmm.
like, and it made it more real.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh wow, this is what he's going through. Like you
Right,
could tell that it
right.
was like kind of personal to you.
I love
Cause
that.
like I said, you could hear it in your voice. And that's what I was like listening. When I'm listening, I'm like, wow, like you could actually hear, like I felt like you were in darkness. I
Mm,
felt like you were going through
mm,
pain, like listening.
mm.
So I was like, wow. So I was like, let me look at the lyrics, see what's going on. So got a little bit
Yeah.
more into it. And I was like, okay, now I see more of like where it was going with that and
Hmm.
staying afloat. It is very hard when you're in a dark place to find that light.
It
Some
is.
people do get stuck in that darkness for
It
a very
is.
long time.
Mhm,
That's where that depression comes in, because
mhm.
depression is only hopelessness. It's a feeling of hopelessness, the
Right.
feeling of nothing goes right for you
Right.
during that time.
Mhm,
So for you to be able to let that out and like let people know, like, I'm in darkness, but I need to stay afloat.
mhm.
What keeps you afloat now? What's that motivation for you?
Um, it's a good question. I feel like when I was in that darkness, I needed, or what I was longing for was just, I don't know if it was this love or if it was, because of course it's happiness, but where was that happiness gonna like derive from? Was it love that I was longing for? Was it community? Was it what was it? Was it success? What was it? A mixture of these things. So now I feel like I've um, I don't want to say I'm completely on the other side of it, but I definitely am on the other side of where I was. And I'm so blessed to even be able to say that, because that was a really dark time. Um, but I feel like surrounding yourself with people that love you, and that you don't have to question, and that have your back, and that it's really that's something that's really really important for me, because of what I've been through and my traumas. And just it's just a part of who I am. It's something that I require these days. It's that safety and that feeling of protection of the people that I surround myself with. Because I'm just too damn old to be dealing with, what I'm saying,
I feel that. I
anything
feel
else.
that.
So I think
Definitely.
that that's super important for me, and it does so much. Just that in itself, making sure the people around you um, never bring those types of doubts or feelings in your brain, because it really can fuck for somebody like me, an earth sign like me. It can really fuck with you.
I'm with you. I'm an earth
And
sign, so I feel it.
yeah, it caused a lot of this Saturn return, those last years of your 20s. It caused a lot of friction, and a lot of mental uh health issues, I would say. But working through that, navigating that, figuring out how to make sure I'm surrounding myself with the right people, and making sure I'm staying focused, and making sure I'm being disciplined within myself, and then I'm challenging myself every day to get up and accomplish my goals, and to work hard, and to also just live in the moment too. I feel like when you're too focused and you're too hardworking. Sometimes you forget to like live and
Right.
just enjoy the day, enjoy the moment, enjoy the time, spend more time with people. So I'm just trying to do all of that.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. I think it's super important that you mentioned like community, the people that you have around you, especially when you get older. I feel like in our early 20s, it was like, who's fun? I want to have fun. Like, who's that fun person? Now it's
Exactly.
like, okay, who brings me joy? Who
Mhm.
can I be around whose energy isn't going to like throw me off?
Right.
You start to notice that being older, like, I don't think we mesh too well. So I'm going to keep
Right.
you at this distance, you
Mhm.
know? It's very important because the energy that you have around you can sometimes bring you into those down moments. And
Yep.
it's like, why do I feel so like crushed when you're around me? Is weird. I don't like that.
Mhm.
So you stay over there.
Exactly.
But that definitely plays a part in just figuring out like who you want to be around you.
Mhm.
As far as your support system, who would you say is like, if you had some good news, like who would you want to tell?
Oh my gosh, I have some good news. I'm calling my mama for sure.
Period. Gotta call mama.
Um, some good news. I'm definitely calling Veronica. I'm calling Stan. I'm calling Matt.
Shout out to them.
Shout out to them. Damn, I don't want to forget nobody. I'm
Right,
sorry, y'all.
right.
Oh yeah, it's a
Don't
few.
be mad if you
It's
forgot
don't be
you
mad
guys.
if I
Don't be
forgot
mad,
y'all.
okay?
But yeah, it's I definitely have a great support system. People that I really trust and love, and I know trust and love me, and you know shout out to Lo, shout out to Ty, shout out to Kima. I don't want to forget nobody.
Don't take it personal.
Don't take it personal.
Don't take it personal,
please.
guys. He still loves you.
I still love y'all. But yeah, it's great having that feeling because for so long I felt like not that I didn't have those people, but I had people that I had to question, and I'm like, damn, I love the shit out of you. It's like, why you being weird to me?
No,
You know what I'm
literally
saying?
weird.
But it's life, and you can't control. People grow apart.
Definitely.
It happens. So I don't have no ill feelings or no bad blood or hard feelings for nobody.
Right.
I'm all about love and growth and evolution, and it is what it is, and it ain't what it ain't.
Definitely. And that's how you have to live. Live in that moment. Like you said, it's important to live in that moment because people do get lost in this like, what am I gonna do? How am I gonna do it? Like just live for today. Like sometimes all we have is today.
All we got is
So
today.
let's just live for today and
Yeah.
we'll think about all that later.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people, especially around these like the late 20s, like I think even in the early 20s, trying to figure yourself out, you're just super concerned with the future.
Yeah.
Like
yeah,
how,
for sure.
what, why, and when. Like that's your questioning. But the most important thing is just living in the moment, being present for today. And you don't always have to be busy. I don't know where
Yeah,
this like
yeah.
busy lifestyle. I gotta always. I'm gonna take a nap in a minute,
She talking to
love.
me right now, y'all.
I'm gonna
No,
take
but
a
you're
nap.
right. You're right. You're right. I love my naps. That's one thing about me. As hard as I work, as much as I like to stay busy, I'm gonna give me a nap in.
You got to. You gotta get your
I'm gonna give
rest.
me a nap in. They are really important.
It is. Sometimes your body just needs that rest.
And that's one thing I've been learning too. I feel like these late 20s, that Saturn return that we've been going through, it's like you gotta listen to your body.
You do.
As much as you may want to do something, or as much as you may want this to happen, you gotta listen to your body.
do.
Because your body's gonna tell you what it needs to tell you.
It does
And
though.
it's up to you to listen.
If you're paying attention to your body, your body will tell you. I think like the other weekend, I never have been a runner in my life. And I woke up like, I need to run. Like my body was just like, I need to run. I went for a run. Like I don't know. It felt good though.
Yeah.
But it was like, okay, body, I hear you.
And
You
like,
have to be in tune with yourself.
You do. And like this weekend, I've been having so much work to do, but I've been getting a lot of rest this weekend.
That's
and
good.
my body's been telling me to. And I feel refreshed. I feel rejuvenated. I feel like, okay, I'm ready to tackle the weekend.
Yes.
Because sometimes you just, like you said, you gotta listen to your body. Your body's gonna tell you.
It is. It is very important. Listen to your body, guys. Please.
It's gonna say, sit your ass down.
It is. Please sit down because I
Go to
can't
sleep.
right now. And as far as your listeners and the people who support your music, what is something that you want them to know about you?
It's a good question. I'm not perfect. I know I have a certain presentation and a certain aesthetic. I get up told all the time, you always look so clean.
You
Always look so
do,
nice.
you
Thank
do,
you.
but like since like Georgia Southern days.
Yeah, she went to college with me. Y'all. This is
Yes.
crazy.
So you
This ain't
always
nothing
came
new.
through with the looks. You
Thank
ain't
you.
never, I ain't never seen you not come through with the looks. So
Thank
that
you.
you got that one.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. But no, I just want people to know, like, like I'm not perfect. I'm nowhere near it. I just like to present myself a certain way, but there's so much more to me. I think the true beauty and the true attraction and the true all of that really, really was what's inside and what's in the soul. And I think because everything else on the exterior, all that's gonna fade, and you know what I mean, one day. But I feel like what's inside is what really matters, what really shines through. So I always try to make sure that like what's in here is as beautiful and pure and that's why when shit happens, you gotta really address it and make sure that it's not fucking up what's inside, because
Definitely.
that's what you're gonna gotta live with forever. So yeah.
Definitely. I think that's super important that you said to like let it out.
Hmm.
Address certain things. I think a lot of people sometimes are like afraid to address their own feelings, especially when it comes to addressing it with other people.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
once you have it off your chest, you feel a
yeah.
lot better. And you don't,
Confrontation isn't always easy.
it's not.
It can be
It's not.
uncomfortable, but I feel like sometimes it's necessary, especially for healthy relationships. Sometimes it's necessary, and sometimes you gotta just address it. And because a lot of times what happens is it's just a simple misunderstanding, and people they don't want to address it, and they rather just and then that's
Mhm.
how people grow apart, and they never speak again, and
Right.
it just get weird. But I think if you truly love somebody and you truly love, care about or value the relationship or whatever, then you'll do what you got to do for it.
Definitely. Definitely. And speaking of love, do you have a special somebody? Are you looking? Is it complicated?
No, it's actually not complicated. I'm
Okay.
actually really super focused on my music right now,
Yes.
but I'm open. I'm dating,
Okay.
and I'm open. I'm keeping my options open, and yeah,
I didn't mean to
um
put you on the spot.
no, you're good. You're good. May the best man win. No, I'm just playing.
Right.
I'm
Y'all
just
heard
playing.
it, okay? Come with it. Don't have step. You gotta come with it if you're gonna come with it, okay?
She ain't lying about that one now. Don't have step.
And as far as some advice, what advice would you give to other artists about their mental health?
I would say pay attention to it. Don't avoid it. I think sometimes us as black people, I think we're taught to avoid it or to act like it's not important. Especially as a young black Southern country boy growing up in the South. You know what I'm saying? We hear that a lot. It's like your feelings don't really matter. You damn sure shouldn't be crying. All of that is reinforced so much growing up that you feel like you just shouldn't address it or it's not important, and life will show you it is. So I feel like my advice would be pay attention to it. Don't listen to people telling you that it's not important or that your feelings aren't important or that they don't matter or that they aren't valid, because they are. You feel that way for a reason. So find out why you feel that way and what's making you feel that way. What makes you feel good. I think also paying attention to that too, the other side of it. Like, what makes me feel good?
Right.
What do I enjoy? What brings me joy? What brings me genuine happiness? And if I spend more time doing those things or being around those people, I'm naturally going to feel better more.
Right.
you know,
Definitely.
it's just like it kind of when you kind of break it down and simplify it a little bit, it kind of helps too. So my advice would just be to pay attention to the things that you enjoy and pay attention to the things that fuck with your energy, and
Definitely.
yeah, and adjust accordingly.
Literally. Cut people off, stand on business.
Stand on business. You know what I'm saying?
But it's super important, like you said, to not ignore it.
Yeah, yeah,
Like like get in there with yourself, like get very in tune with yourself and understand that what you're going through is super important. Even if it's not important to anybody else, it's super important to you.
for
So
sure.
get focused on that. Make sure like, you're taking care of yourself. And like he said, don't ignore that feelings. Like you feel that way for a reason.
Mhm.
And identify what it is. And sometimes it's just simply having a conversation within yourself. Like, hey, listen, I'm just not okay today.
Yeah,
Why I'm not
yeah,
okay?
yeah.
This and this happened. It just threw me off. Like if you have no one to talk to, talk to yourself or write it down or do what you need to do within yourself. So we're gonna wrap up soon,
Okay.
but I seen you in the Beyonce movie.
Oh, yeah.
So what you got going on for 2024 now?
Oh my God, 2024 is gonna be crazy. I got a show in LA next weekend, and then I'll be
Yes.
back the following weekend for Grammy weekend. We got Stay Afloat. We're gonna put a video off of that soon.
Okay.
I got some more, a lot of music coming out. We expanding the sound. We going to new areas, new genres. Houston, we got a show in Houston, March 16th. That's gonna be a big one. Opening for LaToya Luckett.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of new music. I'm super excited about it. A lot of
Okay.
new visuals. The docu-series is still going. The merch, make sure y'all tap in at the merch, all designed by me, at shop.damezmusic.com.
Period. Plug in.
The new album, Hell Now Heaven Later, is out. 17 tracks. Very vulnerable, very heartfelt, very mental health focused. Make sure y'all go tap in there. Everywhere music is streaming is there. And yeah, 2024 is just looking like a dope year.
Period.
And I'm turning 30.
Oh, okay. And you
turning
mentioned being
30.
Earth sign. When's your birthday?
My birthday is April 27th, so I'm a Taurus.
Okay, my mom's a Taurus. I love y'all.
Yeah, I mean, we the
So,
best. We
You
the
know,
best.
I'm a Virgo, so we both Earth gang.
Earth gang.
I turned 30 this year. It's been lovely.
Yeah,
So
it's been
I
lovely. That's
pray
what
that
I'm
this year is
hearing.
great
That's
for
what I'm
you.
hearing. Thank
Yes,
you.
it's been very lovely. A lot of people are like, oh, I'm getting old.
That's how I've been feeling too. You're like, yeah, you are.
You are, but it's okay.
I gotta
It
embrace it,
happens.
right?
It is. It's been like, it's a great feeling.
That's dope.
It's something I really can't too much express, but it's been a great feeling. It's
I
so
can't
much.
wait.
You come into yourself so much. And I just felt like 29 was like you're still shaking. You're still like teeter-tottering,
That's
you know?
kind of how I am
Yeah.
right now.
No, 30 is like, oh, you standing. Oh,
Do you
I'm
feel like
standing
you've
up.
like shedded like some like layers from
Definitely.
your 20s, and you're just more
Definitely.
like,
I feel like I'm more confident in who I am.
mhm.
And now I feel like before it was like, am I this? Can I be that? Now I'm like, no, I'm this.
This is me.
This is me. This is who
Yeah.
I am.
So,
And it is what it is,
I
you
love
know?
that.
It's
I
up from
love
here.
that.
Period.
I love that.
So I hope you have a great birthday.
Thank you.
And where can they find you on social media?
Find me everywhere at Damez, Damez. That's also where you can type in on all the DSPs for my music, YouTube, wherever you at. Just go to Google, type in Damez, and everything will
Google
pop
me.
up. Google me,
Period.
babe.
Thank you guys for tuning in for another episode of Why Settle. I'm super grateful to have Damez here.
Thanks for
And
having me.
stay tuned for the next episode, of course. Thank you for coming. Bye, guys.
One goal, one passion. Why settle? One goal, one